Dear students, today the topic of my lecture is the varactor diode. Today, in the class of electronic devices and technology, I will tell you about varactor diode. So, first of all, what is varactor diode? As you can see on your shared screen, the junction capacitance of diodes varies with the amount of reverse bias. As you people already know, diode is a PN junction, and the junction of diode is also have capacitive properties. So diode junction have capacitive properties. That's why we call it junction capacitance. Why it is called junction capacitance? Because the junction of the capacitor diode, which is also called depletion region, which is also called barrier potential, have stored charges. Like you have seen in previous class, there are positive charges which are holes gathered in one side of the junction, and there are negative charges which are called electrons gathered on the other side of the junction. Either holes or electrons or both holes and electrons gathered to form a junction. So junction stores the charges. That's why it has a capacitance. Now the junction capacitance of diode varies with the amount of reverse bias. It means the varactor diode works only in reverse bias. The varactor diode operates only in reverse bias, and that is the reverse voltage which changes the value of junction capacitance of a varactor diode. Varactor diodes are specially designed and are used as voltage controlled capacitors. Varactor diodes are specially manufactured. You must remember this, students. Varactor diodes are specially manufactured. Why? Because these can be used as a voltage controlled capacitor. Capacitor is an element in electronics. It's a component. When we are able to control a capacitor with the help of a voltage, then it's called a varactor diode. Let's move on. These devices are commonly used in communication system. This is the application of a varactor diode. Varactor diode is used in communication system areas. Varactor diode is used in telecommunication. Let's read the line. Varactor diodes are also referred to as varicaps or tuning diodes. So these are the two names by which we can call a varactor diode. Varactor diode is also called a varicap, and varactor diode is also called a tuning diode. Let's move on. A varactor diode, a varactor is a diode that always operate in reverse bias and is doped to maximize the capacitance of depletion region. Okay, so line, this sentence shows about the fact which I have already told you in the beginning lines, that varactor is a diode and it is especially designed in the industry that it always works, it always operates in reverse bias. It is especially designed to operate in reverse bias. And you people always remember, and you people know that for the specific purpose, if we manufacture a component for the specific purpose, to be used in practical applications, then we have to do the doping of that component in the industries. So if we are saying a varactor diode always operates in a reverse bias, then it is doped to maximize the capacitance of depletion region. What does it mean to maximize the capacitance of depletion region? What does this sentence means? Depletion region, remember, depletion region is the synonym, you can say, or it is the other name of PN junction, which is also called barrier potential. Why it is so called? Because holes and electrons are gathered there in the form of a barrier, and electrons deplete into holes crossing that barrier. That's why it is called depletion region. So it has a capacitive property, and its capacitance must be maximized so that a varactor diode will be able to operate in reverse bias. Otherwise, it will not be able to operate in reverse bias. Then you students can ask me a question. So what is the maximum value of the capacitance of depletion region? Then it depends on the models of the diode. It changes on the models of the diode. Different models have a different maximum value. But remember, it should be doped so that a varactor diode will be able to operate in reverse bias. Now move on. Read this paragraph. The depletion region act as a capacitor dielectric because of its non-conductive characteristics. Okay. Now in this paragraph, we are actually comparing uh, a varactor diode with a capacitor. As we have already said in the previous lines, in the previous description of varactor diode, that a varactor diode works as a capacitor. It is basically a voltage control capacitor. So now we have to compare the characteristics of a capacitor with the varactor diode. So the depletion region of a diode is considered as a dielectric of a capacitor. The depletion region of the diode basically acts as a capacitor dielectric. Why? Because depletion region is of non-conductive nature. Depletion region doesn't conduct. That's why it is called dielectric. Now read this sentence. The P and N regions are conductive and act as the capacitor plates. So the p-type material of the diode is considered as a capacitor plate, and n-type material of the diode is also considered as a capacitor plate. So the two plates of the capacitors are compared with the two types of materials of a diode. Let's move on. This is the symbol of the variable capacitor. You can see there is an arrow marked onto the basic symbol of the capacitor. This arrow represents variable capacitance. This is the figure which is representing you how a varactor diode is compared with a capacitor. You can see here is p-type material which is compared as a plate. Here is n-type material which is compared as a plate. Here is dielectric which is compared with depletion region of a diode. Now look on the bias voltage. Look at the polarity of the bias voltage. Minus V bias, minus terminal of negative terminal of V bias is connected to the P type, and positive terminal of V bias is connected to the N type. So this is the configuration of reverse bias. And as I have already said, a varactor diode always operates in a reverse bias, so this is the configuration of reverse bias. Now move on. This is the varactor diode symbol. You can see it is not same as the traditional diode. This symbol is different. Now the next heading is optical diodes. Three types of optoelectronic devices are introduced: the light emitting diode, quantum dots, and the photodiode. So basically, these are the three types. Light emitting diode (LED) comes into the category of optoelectronic devices. Quantum dots also comes into the category of optoelectronic devices, and the photodiode also comes into the category of optoelectronic devices. The light emitting diode is a light emitter. Quantum dots are very tiny light emitters made from silicon. The photodiode is the light detector. So, what we are saying in this sentence, let's explain it. Light emitting diode is a light emitter. Light emitter is such type of a device which emits the light, which emits the visible light. As you use light emitting diode LEDs in your circuits, and you always see LED emits the visible light. Either it is red LED, blue LED, yellow LED, green LED, it always emits the visible light, so it is called a light emitter. Quantum dots are also light emitters. Basically, quantum dots are used to manufacture an LED. These are very tiny particles, silicon particles, which emits light. So these quantum dots are used to manufacture LED or other light emitting devices. Photodiode is not a light emitter. Photodiode is a light detector, i.e., when the light falls onto the photodiode, it detects it and generates the signal at Z output. Our first heading is the light emitting diode. Now look at the symbol of LED. This is the symbol of diode, but there is some difference. What is the difference? You can see there are two arrows whose arrowheads are pointing outward. When the arrowhead is pointing outward, it means light is emitting. So these arrowheads are pointing outward, it means LED emits the light. The basic operation of the LED is as follows. When the device is forward biased, electrons from n-type material recombine with holes in p-type material. So when the configuration is forward bias, electrons from n-type material comes and combines with holes in the p-type material, and this is the basic operation of LED. The difference in energy between electrons and holes corresponds to the energy of visible light. When recombination takes place, the recombining electrons release energy in the form of photons. Okay, then what is saying in this paragraph is that when the electrons present in n-type material of the diode move towards the p-type material, they actually cross the barrier potential and come into the vicinity of p-type material and recombines with the holes present in that p-type material. So there is come a difference in energy. Electrons basically gives the visible light when they recombines with holes in the p-type material. This visible light has energy, and basically this is the differences in energy when the electrons recombine with holes in the p-type material. So when the electrons recombines with hole in the p-type materials, the differences in energy will always be the energy of the visible light, and electrons emits the visible light in the form of photons. Photons is a tiny particle of a visible light. Then the next paragraph is saying the emitted light tends to be monochromatic, one color that depends on the band gap. Students, I have already told you in previous classes what is the band gap. Band gap is basically difference in energy. When the electrons jumps towards p-type material and recombines with holes, there is always a difference in energy. This is called band gap. And the visible light, which is emitted by electrons in the form of photons, is always monochromatic. What does monochromatic mean? Monochromatic mean the light of one color. Let's move on. A large surface area exposed on one layer of semiconductor material permits the photons to be emitted as visible light. Diode is, as you people always know, diode is manufactured from semiconductor materials. So there is a surface area of that semiconductor materials, and when the large surface area is exposed with the light, so it emits the light. Basically, electrons when jumps towards the p-type materials, these electrons basically expose towards that p-type material, which is a semiconductor materials, and due to this phenomena, due to this exposition of electrons towards p-type materials, actually emits the light, which is called visible light in the form of photons. This process is called electroluminescence. 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 Electroluminescence is the terminology which is used when electrons hit a surface. That surface is actually exposed to the electrons. That's why electrons hit on that surface, hit on that semiconductor surface, and due to this hit, hard hit by the electrons, the semiconductor material actually emits the light. Various impurities are added during the doping process to establish the wavelengths of emitted light. Again, LEDs are also manufactured in the industries. There is a factor of doping by which we can control the wavelength of the emitted light. We actually add impurities and make the semiconductor material extrinsic. By adding these impurities during the manufacturing of LEDs in industries, we actually control the doping process to establish the wavelength. Why? Because the wavelength determines the color of visible light. By controlling the doping process, we are actually controlling the wavelength of the visible light. And by controlling the wavelength of the visible light, we are actually determining the color of that visible light. Let's move on. Some LEDs emit photons that are not the part of the visible spectrum but have longer wavelengths and are in infrared IR portion of the spectrum. That is, this is the very important point. Some LEDs emits light which is not visible, that is invisible. It is not the part of visible spectrum. Why? Because their wavelengths doesn't come into the range of a visible spectrum. Why? Because they have longer wavelengths. They are out of the range of visible spectrum, and that is called infrared. Now look at this circuit. This is the simple forward bias configuration of LED, in which biasing voltage is there, limiting resistance is there to control the overshooting current, and you can see the LED is connected here. The topic is ended here. Thank you very much.